We're going to get started. Thank you so much for coming out to MSUE on this cold and blustery day to talk about snacking. I'm Monica Smith, registered dietitian and your extension educator for food and nutrition in Kent County. And I thought that January might be a good time to talk about this because everybody's making promises, aren't they? Is anybody making promises for even other people other than themselves? My children, my husband, my cat. Hey, I've got my dog on chamomile tea this year, okay? So we're all making promises, so I thought this would be a good time to talk about this. I have a new clicker. I feel very powerful, all right? Just a reminder that this program is brought to you by USDA, and its civil rights policy says we don't discriminate against anyone, nor do we hang out with anybody that does. So everyone is always welcome. I thought before we talked about snacks, maybe we should talk about eating. What do you think? Now, I know that many of us work with people in poverty. Many of us have been a person in poverty. But still, compared to our friends in Haiti, we are a land of plenty, are we not? And so sometimes why eat is not a simple question for us to answer, is it? If you're in Haiti, you eat because of one reason. You're hungry, all right? But here, why do we eat? These are some of my favorite reasons, all right? Because it's time to, right? It's 6 o'clock, where's dinner, right? Or, wait a minute, I think this thing has got a pointer too. This is fun. Or this right here, this is my personal favorite. Because the environment tells us to, right? Does anybody feel like a freak if they go to the movies and they don't get popcorn? Even if you ate right before you came in, right? Because the environment tells us we're supposed to eat. Now, how long have you been doing that thing with the movies? Just since you were an adult? You learned to do that when you were a kid, right? Movies means popcorn or candy or whatever, right? What about this one? Why do you eat?
Because it's there.
It's there. And isn't that pretty and colorful? Look at that. A rainbow of colors. It's attractive, isn't it? It's there. It's pretty. And probably if I'm somewhere where one of these are, I might be a little stressed, huh? Right? What about this one? Quick. My gosh, we might not get the opportunity to eat later if we don't eat right now. There it is. I'm driving through. I can smell it. Grease and fat, you can't beat it. So sometimes passing it, it's being there, it's quick, it's convenient. It's not awfully expensive to go to the In-N-Out place, is it? No, not for a lot of us. And last but not least is our friend right here. Maybe we really are hungry. Maybe, maybe not. I want to do a little physiology about hunger. Now, internal hunger cues. You're really hungry. Your body's really hungry. How many people get this up here? This shaky, headachy, unable to concentrate, grumpy.
I've been told grumpy.
Oh, but you vehemently deny that, right? Others perceive her as grumpy, though she would not go that far. This is a blood sugar drop. It's a physical thing that's happening. You're really hungry, aren't you? All right? Can that happen multiple times a day? Oh, yeah. It could be, you could cycle through this over and over throughout a day, right? Happy, grumpy, good, bad, up, down. Very physical. What about, do people here get a physical hunger cue like the growling, burning, churning, nausea? Because we eat when it's time, don't we? So we don't often get that. I once had a client in my private practice for weight loss who told me she had not felt a hunger cue, a physical hunger cue, in 20 years. I don't think she's abnormal. I think that there are many who have not felt a physical hunger cue in decades. You know, if you're really hungry, physically hungry, because the body's very gentle, it'll ask you nicely, growly, growly, hungry. And then it'll ask you again a little while later, yoo-hoo, growly, growly, unable to concentrate, hungry. And it'll ask you again, burning, burning, churning, shaky, grumpy, hungry. Okay? It'll progress in its hunger cue. All right? And given that you're having that hunger cue, physical hunger is not awfully fussy. Now, I'm a vegetarian, and I'd have to get really hungry before I ate a steak. Really hungry. But I will eat when I'm hungry, when it's yelling at me. I'll eat just about anything that I will accept as food. I'm not saying, I'll just hold out for the pizza. No, give me the peanut butter cracker, I'm good. You know? For most of us, this will happen in about 3 to 5 hour increments, unless you've woefully overeaten the meal before. Anybody guilty of this? I think I'm going to eat this huge lunch so I don't have to eat again until tomorrow. Yeah, been there, done that. My mother trained us to do that because she didn't much care for doing dinner on Sunday. But if you don't woefully misunderstand your hunger cue, you got about 3 to 5 hours. Now let's talk about a little psychology about external hunger cues. That looks good. That would be an external hunger cue. That smells good. You know what? We cook in this place all the time. There's always something being cooked that smells good. If you were not careful, you would think that you were hungry 24 hours a day working here. I mean, chicken. I'm a vegetarian. They they're making chicken and I'm wanting to eat because still smells pretty good, right? Or that would be good. Wouldn't that be good? Whatever it might be, the in and out thing. That would be good right now. I mean, I just ate an hour ago, but I'm right here. External hunger cues are psychological. It has nothing to do with what our body needs. It's possible to feel very physically full and get an external hunger cue that will lead you to eat. I mean, who's taking that last piece of cake, that second piece of pie? Who's finished the last third of that smoothie because they paid $4.75 for it? Right? External hunger cues feel like cravings. They feel immediate, they feel urgent, and they feel mean. If you don't give me what I want, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel maybe anxious, you're going to feel mean, you're going to feel unsatisfied. You might even feel sad. Because food changes mood, right? And if I'm wanting those French fries up there, maybe what I'm really wanting is to feel a little differently psychologically because I'm really not hungry because I just ate. So, internal or external hunger cues? For adults, if you can manage to eat to your internal hunger cues, your life has just radically changed. The chances of you needing to truly diet are probably pretty much over. Obsessing with food is probably pretty much over. You can regulate your weight. Now, I'm not talking about being some kind of ideal body shape that may or may not be your genetic life, right? Come on. I am never, ever going to be Angelina Jolie. I know it is comical just to think of it. But if I have that standard for myself, no, my internal hunger cue will probably never do that for me. My legs will not grow that long. Other things will not proportionately change. But if I live to my internal hunger cue, I could probably eat pretty well for life. For children children need a little bit more help than their internal hunger cue. They need to eat on a schedule. But once they come to the table, they need to decide how much to eat and whether or not to eat. Who's got kids? Anybody panic when their child doesn't eat? Yeah. My mom used to panic. Oh, really, I think that she was upset because I wasn't eating something. She was a wonderful cook that she had prepared. But the child gets to decide. Anybody heard of Ellen Satter? My guru, my friend, the woman that makes sense of all childhood eating dysfunction. You put it on the table, you provide it at the table at a regular time, and the child knows if it's hungry or if it's not hungry. We learn to ignore our internal hunger cue. Okay? Anybody seen a 6-month-old lately? Do they ignore their internal hunger cues? They don't have any baggage yet. They don't know about In-N-Out place, right? They don't know about vending machines. They don't know about Angelina Jolie. They have no preconceived idea about what they should look like and change their body to make them be whatever. It's just plain pure hunger at 6 months, right? Sometimes we misread that hunger cue. We may not, maybe that baby's telling us it really wants to play, cuddle, sit up, have a change of view. Sometimes we misinterpret it, but baby knows when it's hungry. But it's our responsibility to feed children on a schedule and let them eat as much as they need to eat. When children are able to do that, you could see a real different child as far as mood and weight and energy balance. A really different child. For adults and children, eating to external hunger cues is generally not a great idea. There are people who are successful with it. That would not be me. Nor would it be the majority of us, because we live in a society that has a lot of calorie-dense food, right?
It's effective for the marketing people, though.
Very effective for those in marketing. It works. They've got us over and over again, right? We don't do it once. We do it every time. So before we can even talk about snacking, and I can convince you about mini meals, I probably need to help you understand about hunger. I'm starting to believe that a great proportion of our society does not understand hunger. Either when they feel hungry, they're afraid of it. They feel hungry, they're annoyed by it. I got other things to do than eat. If you ignore it long enough, will it go away? Yeah, and then when it comes back, what's that like? Ooh, tie it down, right? Adults, if you've got a physical hunger cue, if you're adequately hydrated, sometimes we don't drink enough fluids and we ignore our hydration cues, and so body will do what? Well, if it can't get it any other way, it'll ask you for food. Because there's a lot of liquid in food, right? We get a lot of water in food. Has it been 2 or more hours since I ate a meal? And am I willing to accept most foods that I consider acceptable? You know, I'm not going to eat bugs like on that show they have on television. All right? But if those things are happening for me, oops, watch this, I can make it go backward without a hassle now. Isn't that cool? I'm probably hungry. I probably need to eat. Children, is it meal or snack time? The parent puts the meals and snacks on the table at a certain time and determines what those meals and snacks will be. Does anybody have fear? It's just that thought? I could put it on the table, but I don't really want to decide what it's going to be. Yeah. No fury like an unhappy 3-year-old, is there? That's all they got to do, right? And is the child willing to eat? Is it time to eat, and are they willing to eat? They can determine what they eat and how much of the food at all. Maybe they don't want to eat. No human child that I have known who is a normal, healthy child, not with some type of error of metabolism, has ever starved itself. Children don't starve themselves. They just don't. It's not advantageous. But you know what we do? You know where we mess up with this eating frequently thing? We treat eating frequently like a snack time bonanza, a treat time bonanza, right? Snacks have to be part of our diet, our regular diet, our regular nutrition. Really, most of us in here, I look at us, we're a pretty average looking group. Not that you're not all exceptional in your own ways. All right? We're a pretty average group. It's going to be hard for most of us to get all the nutrient content we need in 3 meals a day without getting to the point where we reach that hungry, grumpy, fussy thing, or where we're so overfed at one meal that we don't feel well for the rest of the day or for several hours. We were designed as a human being, as our species, to eat frequently. Hunter-gatherers, we walked, we gathered, we ate, we moved. We walked, we gathered, we ate, we moved, right? That's what we did. That's what we were designed for. And so, when you're thinking about, I need to have a snack, that doesn't need to translate, I can't have a snack because I don't need any cookies. See, that's what people think. Oh, I shouldn't snack because, really, I can't have any more ice cream this week. Doesn't work that way. If you want a good snack, does it have 2 or more food groups? Would you serve it as a component of a meal? Would it be happy to have this healthy, to have this food daily or multiple times a day? Would you feed it to a 3-year-old? You know what's remarkable? You can take an 8-year-old and say to it, what would you give a 3-year-old for a snack? And you know what that kid will say? An apple. They almost would ever say bubble gum. Kids are really pretty smart. Now sometimes they'll say a Twinkie, and I'll say, well, what about a healthy snack? Oh, then they'll say cereal or something really pretty good. Kids are smart. So my favorite test is, would you feed it to a 3-year-old? And if you answered no to these things right here, you're probably not snacking, you're probably treating. And treating is what sometimes gets us in trouble with our energy level, our mood, and our body shape. Treats are treats. Treats don't happen every day. They don't happen multiple times a day, right? Yeah. Yeah, in utopia, Monica's utopian world. Snacks, it's part of a healthy eating plan. They fill in the gaps. So, what do most of us need to have more of? Vegetables. What else? Vegetables. Yeah. Whole grains. Whole grains, and whole grains. And more whole grains. Fruit. I once met someone who ate no fruit, who liked no fruit. None. Okay. You can sort of make that up with more vegetables, but I thought that was odd. But fruits and vegetables. Some of us is protein. I'm sort of not real good with protein. Use those times a day, those between meal feedings, to increase the foods that you feel short on. Sometimes I'll just sort of go through the day and record what I'm eating. Grain, vegetable. That's interesting for a dietitian. Let me see if I can recoup that a little bit and become more aware. Treats are for pleasure. They're great to have treats. I love treats. But I can't live on treats. I can't do the work I do with treats as part of my daily life. Generally, they're discretionary or empty calories. Resist the urge to reward children or adults with treat food. Okay, how many people have been to a meeting this week? Okay, did they have treat food at the meeting? Donuts. Oh, everybody's favorite treat food. Let's see, what do we got in a donut here? We got some fat, we got some sugar. They're soft and gooey. all these things are lighting up in our brains, all these pleasure sensors. And that was technically, though not spoken, your reward for coming to that meeting, wasn't it? Absolutely. So then what does the brain begin to associate with meetings? Treats. What happens when you go to a meeting where there are no treats? Oh. Don't. I'm not. This is the last time I'm coming in this place. What now? And carrot sticks? You expect me to stay awake through this thing on carrot sticks? I once walked into the kitchen at my grandmother's house, and she was sitting there with her children, her 3 daughters, and I was just walking through, and I heard the gist of the conversation, and my one aunt says to the group, well, she didn't even have a piece of cake to offer me. A fate worse than death. My goodness, she had gone to somebody's house and there was no treat food. Brain becomes hardwired very quickly in response to pleasure, in response to food. Meeting treat, good girl treat, social treat. Really, think about it. I don't remember the last time that I saw any type of promotion other than what we use here that we scrounge for, that associated being a really cool kid with carrots, celery, a boiled egg, right? If you want to be a cool kid, you got something in a package, right? And it's going to be sweet or salty, maybe fatty. And they market it to turn it into, they call it other things, right? But when it all comes down to it, they're trying to get your mind attached to this treat food and pleasure with this other activity. Beginning to reward, especially children, with treat food is going to set you into a never-ending cycle. It's quick, though, isn't it? It's easy. Is it legal?
Yeah.
Perfectly. Is it cheap? I mean, how much is a box of, I can't say name brand, how much is a box of,
Sponge cakes with stuff in the middle.
Thank you, sponge cakes with stuff in the middle. It's not that expensive, is it? And they're neatly wrapped in individual packages. There's no food safety issue, ever, for decades, right? So begin early with children, and I'm working with a group of adolescents right now that I'm trying to unteach this. Treat, food, reward, treat. Teach your children the difference between snacks and treats, and don't use those terms interchangeably. When you tell your child, hey, babe, time for a snack, come on up here, what's before them should be something that looks like something you would have at a meal, 2 or more food groups. You put that cookie on the table, and guess what you've started? Snack time is treat time. Yeah, and that can become a problem. Okay, these are some of my personal favorites. Does anybody have issue with this right here? Juice, though it may be 100% juice, is a lot of calories packed into a little tiny box. And the energy that one gets from this box of juice is spent very quickly. An hour from now, I'm going to be really hungry if I'm playing. Or if I'm trying to concentrate in school. Everybody knows that the brain is the #1 consumer of energy in the body, right? Even though your child might have sat in a chair all day long. They wonder why they come home from school and they're starving. Their poor brain has had not a minute's peace, has it? And then it's been given juice. Does anybody really feel full after drinking juice? Give me 1, give me 6. Doesn't make a bit of difference to me. And we're in our society, we're highly conditioned to drink large quantities of liquid. Are we not? Oh, I wish I'd brought the sippy cup in here. It is not impossible to find a 12 or a 16-ounce sippy cup. Okay, sippy cup, that's for a 3-year-old or under.
It's impossible to find the 4-ounce.
It's impossible to find the 4-ounce. Okay? The stomach of a 3-year-old's about this big. Yet we could force 12 to 16 ounces of fluid in it, which makes it expand. And then what does that do to that child's hunger cue? Begins to distort it, doesn't it? It takes more and more of something for that child to get the sensation of feeling full. You know, we even have to be careful for ourselves that we don't drink large volumes of things all day long. Yes, I certainly want to drink a lot of water. I do drink a lot of water. But I don't want to teach my body that I need to have this much of something to feel full. Nor do I want to use water or diet soda to circumvent my hunger cue, right? I'm hungry, so I'll just drink a quart of water right now. In a little while, it's not going to be pretty. Because I'm going to have to drive by one of those In-N-Out places. You can't go anywhere without it, can you?
Isn't that 44-ounce pop a normal size?
44-ounce pop. 44-ounce pop. And it doesn't matter that it has no calories if you drink soda. You're still changing your body's internal hunger cue by expanding your stomach. And by psyching your body out. Your body tastes sweet. It thinks it's getting calories, right? It thinks it's getting nutrition. And then it's not getting nutrition. It says, what? Wait. You're messing with me. Wait, I was hungry. You gave me this, and now I'm not getting any energy from it. I'm not happy about this. Body doesn't like that. What do you think about this? It's pretty.
Kids string it.
Kids do string it. It makes great necklaces. But not a lot of nutritional value there. Though it is fortified, and we do have, our fortified cereals do provide some vitamin and mineral for us. But other than that, it's largely absent. It's been refined to death. This cookie is actually probably a better choice nutritionally than this product right here. If you each have a cup of milk with either one or a half a cup of milk. Here's another one of my personal favorites. Now you will feel full after you eat a bowl of ramen noodles, won't you? Because there's 20 grams of fat? With fat, you're going to feel full. You're going to feel full when you have this product right here. And that's a lot of noodles. But still largely devoid of nutrient. Not what I would feed a 3-year-old. Not 2 or more food groups. This right here, does anybody really feel like they've eaten anything after they've eaten one of these? Sugar, I feel a little peppy, but I don't feel any less hungry. Chips as well. These things like this for snacks, they're quick. Some are better choices than others. But again, when you're looking at sustaining a young life or an adolescent life or a middle-aged life, would probably not be a great choice as part of a filler. What in my diet, what gap is this filling for me? Unless I'm a small person and I need to gain weight, then this may fill a good gap for me. But that's not me. This right here, about the same as this, don't you think? You're going to feel fuller off this, and this than the rest. But this is what we commonly see provided for snacks, is it not? How many people, cereal, what's a snack? Cereal, right? What's a snack? A cookie. How many adolescent kids come home and prepare, one of these? Anybody ever been in the grocery store? I'm a grocery store voyeur. I'm sorry, I have to admit it. I look at what's in everybody's cart.
That's funny.
It's terrible. It's a sickness. Cases. People buying these by the case. Cheap. Quick. It doesn't require much adult supervision, does it? But neither does PB&J. And that becomes a really good snack. The 3 meal a day rule. Well, we beat that one to death early. You know, one thing about being a nutritionist or a dietitian is you have to take stuff back all the time. You know, everything you learn, you have to unlearn it and relearn it because the field is advancing so much. And, you know, there for a while, remember, you eat 3 meals a day and leave it alone. And, you know, time of day, circadian rhythm, that thing went into effect. And we finally come to our senses and looked at our species and how we've evolved, and we realized that the 3 meal a day rule is largely overrated. Largely overrated. If you tend to overeat at meals or need to eat seconds in order to feel full, you probably needed a snack before you ate. Especially if your plate size at your meal is 9 inches or greater. And they're almost all greater. I felt almost guilty about this. I gave my set of dinnerware to charity, and I went shopping at every antique store in this county until I could find a set of dishes from the 1950s that had a 9-inch plate. I felt a little guilty about whoever was going to get those big plates because when I changed in the course of a year, I lost 20 pounds. Yep, because I'm a visual eater, I'm a visual person. And I know that when I sit down to eat, if I sit down to eat tonight at my dinner time on my plates, my 9-inch plates, and I'm needing to run for seconds, I overshot it. I needed something in the afternoon. If you eat poorly at meals because you don't have time, you're too hungry, you're too rushed to prepare a healthy meal, you probably needed a snack sometime earlier in the day. How many people get to be too hungry to even think of fixing something to eat? Yeah, that's how the drive-thru gets us, right? You probably needed a snack. Do you find that people avoid you in the afternoon? Or in the morning? Do you find yourself coming in the morning and correcting the work you did in the afternoon? Because you suddenly realize between 2 and 4 you can no longer add. You might have needed a snack sometime in there. If people are avoiding you because you're grumpy, fussy, stupid, what comes out of your mouth doesn't make any sense, you're probably hungry. And if you're walking around all day with a diet soda in your hand so that you don't have to fill those hunger cues, you probably really need a snack. That's most of us, isn't it? It really is most of us. That doesn't mean you don't have any willpower. It means you're a human being. I just want to give everybody permission to snack. There's research to prove this. There is an inverse relationship to snacking and overweight. Those who eat more frequently of non-treat foods maintain a more appropriate body weight. We know it. It's been researched to death. They're not researching it anymore. Eat frequently, eat well, maintain your body weight. How many people have ever held out because you were going to go to the buffet? I'm going to go to the buffet tonight. I'm going to get my money's worth. Right? And you get in there and it's almost like a frenzy. And you can look around and you can see other people doing the same thing, right? Because they're going to get their money's worth. Whereas if you had perhaps eaten more frequently throughout the day and had some snacks, you would have gotten in there and you could have still enjoyed your meal and felt like you had gotten your money's worth, but would have felt a lot more in control of it. We know that whole foods throughout the day maintain mental and physical energy. You can watch it happen. And this is not just in some people, this is in everybody. Does anybody get in their car when it has no gas and expect it to go? You would never have that expectation, would you? Never. Never. But you get up, you eat breakfast. How many people do eat breakfast? Everybody? Most of us? You're costing yourself quite a few calories. Burning calories. You set your metabolism for the whole day by eating breakfast. You don't eat breakfast, your body slows down, you're in starvation mode and says, can't burn anything extra. She's not feeding me. So you get up, you eat breakfast, and then life begins to happen, right? You got kids to get ready, you're going to work, you got meetings to go to. Before you know it, it's 2:15, right? Well, why bother with it now? I'm going to go home, right? Who's done that? I do it. Oh, and I know what that's going to be like when I get home. I will have eaten as much as what I need for supper during the preparation of the meal. Right? It's like, wait a minute, there should be leftovers. Oops. And then I look back on my day and wonder why I didn't have such a great afternoon, or why I'm so frustrated, or why I'm yelling at the dog, or why I'm not answering the phone when it rings. I don't feel social. I don't want to see more people. Gosh, I'm hungry and grumpy. Snacks provide the chance to increase variety. Sometimes we'll eat something as a snack in a smaller portion than we would at another time. I mean, sometimes I'll buy fruit I've never had before. Has anybody ever had a prickly pear? God, those things are so cool. I'll buy one. I'm not going to buy 10. And I'll try it at a snack, because you know what? I know I'm going to be so hungry. If that's all I've got to eat, I'll try it. Yes, it's true. At 2 o'clock, if that's all that's in that drawer, I'm on it. And so sometimes it lets us up our variety. And the more variety, the more improved our health risk becomes. Variety, variety, variety. You can't get all the nutrient you need if you eat the same thing every day. I once knew somebody that had a turkey sandwich and a bowl of soup for lunch for about 10 years. Wow. Wish I had bought stock in turkey. Because I think that there's people that do that. That's not doing anything for that person. It does for their energy, and it helps them. May help them maintain their weight. But it's not doing much for fighting off disease, cancer, and helping their body replenish. You got to plan snacks, though, but it doesn't need to be real hard. They don't even need to be extra. Anybody trying to save money on their food budget right now? Man, I'm on it. Is it painful to anyone to throw food out? Oh man, that hurts me. I cannot stand to throw food out. And so leftovers, especially small portion leftovers, something I would have thrown out before, that 2 spoons of mashed potatoes, I would have thrown out before. Now I have some of the small little containers with the lids on them. That's become a snack. How easy is that? Always with leftovers, even the smallest little bits. Then go to pantry staples. Okay? Who's got oatmeal in their pantry? Can of baked beans? Can of refried beans? Peanut butter? Raisins? Now don't tell me that alongside all that good food, you've got something in a cellophane wrapper that's fooled you into thinking it's a snack, when you had all that beautiful whole food right in there ready for you to have. Then I always try to think, what do I need more of? You know, what do we need more of? For a lot of us, it's calcium, right? It's kind of hard for me to have a glass of milk at meals. It makes me feel really full. So it's really easy to have milk as a snack because it's quick, portable, fairly inexpensive, and it makes me feel full. It's only one food group, but that's a lot better than having a diet soda and saying, I can wait, I can wait, I can wait, I can wait. 2 food groups, that's my favorite thing, is something between 2 crackers. How easy is that? It's so easy. But here's the kicker. You need to take into consideration, if you've been a 3 meal a day eater and you're maintaining your weight off that, if you're going to go to having snacks so that your body processes the food more efficiently and gives you more energy, you're going to have to reduce your portion size at meals. Okay. This is on my pyramid.gov. this shows, do you notice that I don't have anything up here less than 1,400 calories? Why do you think that is? Basic maintenance. It's healthy. People that are on a low-calorie diet really should be followed by a physician, shouldn't they? They're putting themselves into a starving state. Not something that should be done lightly. This is what it takes to just breathe. Okay, I'm not talking about, oh, I'm sedentary. That's breathing. To make the hormones, make the antibodies, keep your brain functioning, pump your heart, breathing. But let's say at this 1,400 calorie level, let's say you're a kid, let's say you're 12. What you're going to notice here, look here, cup and a half of fruit, cup half of vegetables, your grains, meats, milk, oil. Discretionary calories, 171. That's not very much, is it? What does 171 calories look like? Yeah, you wouldn't get a whole candy bar out of that, would you? Unless you got the little tiny ones. How much soda would you get for that? What, 8 ounces maybe? 8 ounces? That's those little short cans that they punish you for buying and make you pay more? You know, you're scolded if you buy those. Bad consumer. You're going to pay a premium. But if you buy in this big jug, we'll only charge you 89 cents. Okay? 171 extra calories a day to maintain that intake level. Okay. This is what it would look like if you were having 3 meals a day and a couple of snacks. Does that look like only a little tiny bit of food to most folks? An ounce of grain. That's a slice of toast, right? A half a cup of fruit and a half a cup of milk. It's not much food, is it? Then you get the rest of your milk and the rest of your fruit as a snack. Coming back at lunch, an ounce of grain. That looks like half a sandwich, doesn't it? Not a whole sandwich. Fruit, vegetable, only a little bit of milk. An ounce of protein. That doesn't look like much, does it? Is anybody panicking over that ounce of protein yet? Afternoon snack, a little bit more protein and some vegetables. That ounce of grains looks like another half sandwich. And then your dinner. But where did my discretionary calories go? Well, did you have any condiments? Did you have any other beverages besides milk that had calories in it? Did you just, up the portions a little bit? That 1 ounce of protein became 2 ounces of protein and the half a cup of milk became 6 ounces of milk. It's very easy to absorb that if you're not paying attention. But if you did pay good attention, you'd have 171 calories that you could have and treat food if you liked, because now you've met your requirements. But that's kind of a mind bender how little food that is, isn't it? Let's go back a minute. Okay, let's say you're a grown, healthy adult, 2,000, somewhere between 2,000 and 2,400 calories a day. Does anybody have a hard time getting 4.5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day? If you're not eating a giant salad, or you're not eating a fruit or a vegetable at 2 snacks, you're going to have a hard time meeting that, I think. And I love vegetables, and it's still hard for me. 6 ounces of grain, who would have trouble with that? Given pasta, rice, bread, crackers, anybody have trouble with that? That's an easy one, right? That's an easy one. Protein, 5 ounces. Looks about like that. About this thick. Does anybody have trouble getting that? Wow. Has anybody noticed how chicken breasts have gotten huge over the last few years? I mean, when I was a kid, we had scrawny chickens. Bought some chicken last night, And I was amazed to find that you can have a chicken breast that weighs a pound. Wow. That must have been a strange looking chicken. But given that, when we have a breast, what do you think of a chicken breast as? Do you think of it as a portion? Heck yeah, you think of it as a portion. Okay? That's a lot of protein. Even if it's 10, 12, 16 ounces, and that's a couple of days worth if you're not careful. So when you start looking at these, some of this starts to look like a lot of food, doesn't it? Now you got almost 300. Now you can have a soda, right? Or ice cream. You probably wouldn't absorb all of that. This is where alcohol goes to. Is alcohol a good snack? No. Alcohol would be a treat. It's like, I think I'll have a snack. Let's have a beer. No. That doesn't work well with the theory. Okay? These are some of my very most favorite snacks for home. First of all, because they're good for me, but second of all, is I've really seen my food budget change because I'm eating this stuff up. It's going away. I'm not cleaning out the crisper the day before I go to the grocery store anymore. Any of these things that you folks keep on hand? Most of this, some of it? Yep, cottage cheese, string cheese. Eggs, do people keep eggs? Okay. What about chili? I make a pot, I make a vat and freeze it into little tiny sizes. That becomes snack sizes. If I want it for a meal, I do 2. If I want it for a snack, I do 1. What about soup? Soup's another, if I'm going to make 1, I'm going to make a lot. Cream soups don't freeze well. When you buy frozen cream soups at the store, and you think, oh, I bought that frozen corn chowder and it was great. And then I went home and made my own and then froze it. It was nasty. That's because they use stabilizers in the commercially processed ones so that the milk doesn't break upon reheating. If you do it on your own with no stabilizer, you're not going to be happy when you thaw it out. It's going to look funky. So cream soup's not such a good choice. Homemade trail mix. Okay. I have this thing where I don't like to mix cereal. You know, you got just this much in the bottom of the box. It's not quite enough for breakfast. And I've got some more, and I could, So that goes into the Ziploc baggie for trail mix. Okay? In about 2 weeks, and I keep it nice and closed, within 2 weeks, all I got to do is add some peanuts and some pretzels, and I've got trail mix. And I've got a good portion of trail mix. It's food safe, no food safety issues, it's durable. I've already paid for it, it's inexpensive, and it's tasty. Maybe I'll throw some dried fruit in there. Tuna, another not eating enough food, really good for us. Yogurt, milk, we've talked about that. Here's my favorite snacks for on the go. Crackers, bagels. Wow, that's another thing that's really gotten monstrous, hasn't it? Bagels scare me now. Oh, you eat a whole bagel and you're out. You're like in a coma. Okay, but they do. You can get small ones, right, for home, the ones that are more realistically. What a great snack. What a great snack. Peanut butter, again, the trail mix. Homemade granola bars. Okay, does anybody say, yeah, right? This will be, I will put a homemade granola bar recipe on the website when I put the materials on there. It's so easy. It's so inexpensive. The shelf life is good, even without the preservatives, even without the little fancy paper wrapping. And you can make it the way you like it, you know, with what you have on hand. If I've got peanuts, that's what goes into it. If I've got almonds, walnuts, whatever I've got, that's the nut that goes in. It's really nice, very easy, and you can freeze them. So again, if I'm making them, who is it on Food TV says, chop once, use twice? Who's that? Rachel Ray or somebody? Yeah, if I'm doing it for 10, I can do it for 20 and freeze them. Now I don't have to make them again for a month. All right. Dried fruit, homemade corn muffins. Really inexpensive. Homemade bran muffins. Who's going, ooh? Bran muffins can be really good too. They don't have to be dull and boring and chewing like cardboard, right? If you don't overbake them, you let the bran moisten, and you add your own fruit, you're going to enjoy them. Here's my favorite snacks for groups. Okay. Veggies and dip. Come on, every time I go to a meeting where there's veggies and no dip, do the veggies get eaten? Accept it. I know it's good for us, except that they are not going to eat veggies, whoever they may be. They may be a child, they may be an adolescent, they may be an adult. They are not going to eat raw, dry, plain, boring veggies. You're going to have something to put on them. I like the salad spritzers. Have you seen those now? You put the veggies on your plate, do a few spritzes. They have a lot of flavor. No food safety issues. Low fat. Again, fruit. Have sandwiches. Have sandwiches of anything. Again, the bagels. Nuts. Unless you're dealing with kids and allergies. Okay? If I was going to do a group in the schools, or I was going to do a group at the Y or somewhere, there'd be no nuts. I wouldn't even go there. I wouldn't risk it. Cheese sticks. Hummus. You can make it 100,000 ways, right? What can you not do to a chickpea? Entire civilizations have been sustained on the chickpea. All right? The Middle East, as we now know it, has survived on chickpeas and olive oil. It's a good combination. Yogurt parfaits, again the trail mix, soup, bean dip, refried beans. Okay, what, 89 cents? Come on. Cheap, good. And almost all of these are kid-friendly, for making kid-friendlies. I love smoothies too. They can be a little pricey, depending on what kind of fruit, if you're putting milk in them. But a lot of times there's good sales on frozen fruit. Never goes away. So, let's say you're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I've turned my kids into monsters. Oh my gosh, I've turned my co-workers into treat-oriented, reward with food individuals. There is a way to recoup and regroup and deal with treat to snack resistance. Okay? Begin to plan treats so that the treats don't go away. The treats happen. It's not that you're never again going to get ice cream or a cookie or whatever that treat food, a donut. But it's not every time, every day. Just cease to reward with food. Most kids won't miss it. Where there's a sticker, there's happiness, right? Where there's a marker, there's happiness. Where there's 10 minutes more playtime, or 5 minutes more of a story, or first in line, they're happy with it. All right? Try to limit treats to once or twice a month if there's overweight. If there's not overweight, is not an issue. Have treats planned every week. Be consistent with your division of responsibility. The parent decides the food, and it's not just the parent, meaning your own child. Any time that we are in charge of children, we sort of become the de facto parent, right? Anytime I'm in front of a group of children, I have a certain parental responsibility to them, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're cared for, making sure if I'm feeding them that I'm feeding them in a way that's good for them. And it's okay for you to assume that responsibility. You're not a bad parent if there's none of those. How did you describe that? Spongy?
With stuff in the middle.
Spongy, cake-like things with stuff in the middle. If there are none of those at your home, you are not a bad parent. All right? If there are no treats in your home, you're not a bad parent. You can go out and get a treat, right? They don't have to be in your home 24 hours a day. This is hard for us to grasp, especially as somebody from the South, because, you know, she didn't even have a piece of cake to give me. I mean, that's been 30 years ago, people, and I still hear it resounding in my head. Neither children nor adults need or deserve food treats. Nobody becomes a sociopath because there are no cookies. All right? All right? Children and adults need and deserve good nutrition. They deserve praise and they deserve attention. And those become rewards that last a lifetime. Anybody can go to the 7-Eleven once they get a driver's license, right? And get a candy bar. Nobody's going to look back and say, wow, I'm so glad my mom always had chips. Really? Model what you preach when you're switching from treat to snack. That means you can't have that 40-ounce soda to replace a snack if you're sitting there with your child and saying, eat that PB&J. Model what you preach. And speak clearly. Start calling a snack and a treat, right? And this is the hardest one of all. It's okay if the child doesn't eat. Anybody ever work with after-school programs? In-school programs? And something about you says, oh my gosh, if this kid doesn't eat, it will perish before it gets home. It won't. It won't. It'll be okay. It might be hungry and grumpy, but it'll be okay. It's okay if the child doesn't choose to eat. There's going to be another meal or snack in a few hours. Kid knows when it's going to eat, right? Same way with us. Like right now, I haven't had my lunch. It's 2 till 1. Lunch is at what time? Noon. But I'm okay. Because I know that when I leave here, I can eat. And if I miss it, about 3 o'clock, I'll have a snack, not a treat. So, what I would like for you to leave here with is the idea that what we say matters, how we speak to our children matters, what we think in our head matters, and that we really need to build whole food snacks into our everyday diet. And we can save our money, save our waistline, and save temper tantrums if treats become a treat and snacks become snacks. Can I answer any questions for anybody? Probably will be posted to the website by Monday, the new materials. And try this, and try the homemade granola bar thing, okay? They're really good. Thanks a lot for coming.